Big Sills! Afternoon, all. Welcome aboard. Appreciate everybody stepping in with us as you always do each and every single day. 3 to 6 Eastern time here on JAKIB Sports. I know there's a lot of avenues for you guys to go out and get your entertainment. Many of you, though, pull up a chair, put your camera somewhere on your laptop. Hey, like Philly 500's dad right there on his television. You got Big Sills, Big Mug sitting there, and I appreciate everybody doing that. By the way, I told you, anybody who posts pictures of Big Sills doing the show, you will always get a response and a post. I thought that was cool, so we want to mention that again, and we thank you so much. All right. Man, there is a ton to get to. A ton. There's a ton of sports, too, to sprinkle in. The word in Buffalo. You know what's funny? So I just posted this, that Stefan Diggs, he's in Buffalo. He's in Buffalo. It's mandatory minicamp. He's in his hotel. He's checked in. And he didn't show up to mandatory minicamp. You know why? By the way, does anyone know who follows me on Twitter from the Buffalo Bills coaching staff? All you have to do is go to Dan Sileo Show. At Dan Sileo Show. What coach follows Big Sills from the Buffalo Bills? What coach? What guy would give me a little bit of intel on what this could potentially be, on why he's not at minicamp? By the way, he's going to show up. Ken Dorsey follows Big Sills. That's right, Tone. That's why, JM. The offensive coordinator. JM goes, the only Miami guy? It's funny. You have 2 Miami guys in your coaching staff. Isn't that weird? Huh, interesting. You got 2 Miami guys, Sean Desai and Jeff Stoutland. Actually, Jeff Stoutland was an interim head coach at the University of Miami. How you doing? Your offensive line coach was the interim head coach of the University of Miami. JM, Eagles have 2 coaches from UM. Desai was in recruiting and administration, and Stoutland was the interim head coach. He wants D-Hop. He wants Bean and those guys to seriously consider adding DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I'm going to throw this at Eagle fans. Aren't you getting a sense that this guy's more affordable than you thought? He's in Tennessee and New England, 2 places that are notorious for not paying players. A.J. Brown is in Philadelphia because Tennessee didn't want to give him an extra $6 million. New England paying wideouts? Since when? Notorious for not paying. Hey, Eagle guys, I would think that DeAndre Hopkins is affordable for you. You should kick the tires on that. You should kick the tires. We don't want him. Never, ever listen to anyone who ever says something like that in this room, on this show. Don't ever listen to anyone that says you wouldn't want to add superstar talent to your football team. Don't ever listen to anyone because they're dumb. This is not about catches. This is about winning the Super Bowl. And I'm going to make a point to you right now on why the Eagles should kick the tires on Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Hopkins. Hey, Tone, can you do me just an offhand, off the top of your head, how much do you think the entire backfield of the Eagles cost right now in salaries? If I'm right, isn't like Boston Scott making $3 million now? Didn't I sign Penny for $1.5 million? Swift is making $2 million. Does that sound about right? Okay. I think they're spending about $7 million for the whole damn room. $7 million, JM, about $7 million. $7 million for that room. Well, let me show you something. You know what the lowest paid room in the NFL is? It's Kansas City. They're spending $3 million, actually $2.5 million on their entire running back room. You know why? Because it's Mahomes. It's Mahomes. He don't need it. He don't need a big-time receiver. He don't need a big-time back. That's the separation between Mahomes and the second-best quarterback in the NFL. Do you understand the gap between him and the second guy is quite large? And I would say this to you. The gap between the second and third guy to Mahomes is probably as far as Mahomes to the seventh guy, and how far of a distance he has on the rest. He's lapped the field. Burrow's the second best guy. You want to debate Hurts, some of you? Sure. But the gap between 1 and 2 is enormous. It is just enormous. So you got to close that gap. Jalen needs a full team. That guy doesn't. You guys never got this. By the way, do I think Josh Allen needs a running? Yes. Everyone's chasing Mahomes. Get it through your head. You are not beating him with a shitbag room or half a team. You are not beating him. He proved it. He had a record year last year with nobodies. The gap between Mahomes and Hurts is gargantuan. Grand Canyon. I would say the gap between Mahomes and Burrow is a little closer, but not a lot. Because he's got a full room. We're going to find out more about Joe Burrow pretty soon. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Jesus Christ, can you imagine if Mahomes had those two dudes on his team with Kelsey? Or you put Mahomes in Philly? My God almighty, they throw for 7,000 yards. The gap between Mahomes and Hurts is enormous. So, how do you close the gap? More talent. Not saying this shit. Well, I don't want him, and I'm okay with our team. That's not going to cut it. You didn't beat him last year. Okay? Tone goes, I would definitely say Mahomes doesn't need much because of how great he is. And Reed. We've never seen Burrow without weapons. Correct. We're going to find out a little bit about this guy too soon. Hey, by the way, Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. It's a pretty good group there also. Okay? But we have seen him without a line. Great point. Joe Burrow had the worst offensive line in the National Football League and went to the Super Bowl with it. Allen's been good because of his talent. But I would say this. Do you know who has rated the last 3 years the best defense in the National Football League has been Sean McDermott's Bills? Statistically, the last 3 years, the Bills have been the best. So he's had a good defense. Mahomes is in a class of his own. Absolutely. So how do you beat him? You've got to beat coaching and a talented quarterback. I would make this point to you. Patrick Mahomes is probably the greatest quarterback talent to ever play the National Football League. How are you going to beat that? By not having a loaded team? Absolutely stupidity. Okay? Stupid. Make no mistake about it. Add as many good players as you can because you're going to need it. Because you are going to need it. I don't want to have DeAndre Hopkins. How dumb can you get, man? Absolutely, how dumb can you get? Okay, first off and foremost, too, we want to congratulate the Denver Nuggets on winning the NBA championship last night, 4-1, with Jokic and just absolutely just being a superstar player. Let me say this to you, too. One thing now that's being thrown around is that Jimmy Butler now ran out of gas. I'll say this to you about Jimmy Butler. How many people think Carmelo Anthony's a better basketball player than Jimmy Butler? I don't. What's Carmelo Anthony ever done to a team or for a team? How far has he ever carried a team in the NBA? His accolades are off the NBA court. Olympic Games and NCAA. What's he ever done in the NBA? Score a lot? That's not cutting it. Jimmy Butler's been to 2 NBA finals. How far did Melo ever lead a team? And it's funny, every time he's left a team, they got better. Carmelo Anthony's better at what? Scoring? Okay. Not leading. Not leading. Jimmy Butler has led 2 teams to NBA finals. Carmelo Anthony barely got out of the first round in his entire career. He was terrible in postseason play. He was terrible. And don't tell me he had Butler's got a better team. Are you kidding me? There's 3 dudes on that team that weren't drafted. There's guys on that team that weren't drafted, that started. Yeah, but you know what? Tone's kind of giving me a technically thing here with, look at Sileo putting a premium on leadership. Well, his actions led. Jimmy Butler's not a rah-rah guy. His actions led. Went out there, took care of Milwaukee, took care of Philly, or took care of anybody that stood in their way. Boston. Jimmy Butler with his actions led, not just with his mouth. Okay? I mean, you got 3 guys on that team. I hear, well, Butler, he ran out of gas. I thought he ran out of gas. But congratulations to Joker. Great chance for those guys to go on and do some great things here. All right. Before we get going into the topics here, let me ask you this. How many people believe that Russell Wilson is toast? How many people believe Russell Wilson is toast? JM 530, thanks for reminding me. Rick Barry 530 will close up the NBA Finals. How many people believe that Russell Wilson is toast? And that him with Denver right now. Tony goes, I don't. JM says he's not done. I'm interested in what Tone says. I don't. No way. All the production just doesn't disappear. Those are smart people talking there. Okay? Burnt toast. All right. How about this? Could it possibly be that Russell Wilson is no longer in the JVs and he's now in the big leagues on the AFC side? He's playing against better teams, better quarterbacks. I mean, would you don't think the Big Ten or the Pac-12 or the ACC is as good as the Southeastern Conference? You don't think the MLS is as good as the Premier League, do you? When you've got all those talented quarterbacks and all those talented coaches on the other side on the AFC, maybe it just was this. This guy had a cakewalk in the NFC. He goes over to the AFC and has to start playing some good teams, especially in the AFC West. Guy gets a reality check. All of a sudden, hey, all the things that you were able to get away with in the NFC, you ain't getting away with in the AFC. Because those quarterbacks in the AFC will kill you. Maybe he just stepped up into the big leagues. I wonder how Hurts would do in the AFC. I really do. I'd wonder how he would do if you put him on the Titans. How good would he be if you put Jalen Hurts on the Titans? Hey, how about we put him on a better team, on the Broncos? How good would Hurts do in Denver? Do you think Rodgers could have the same difficult? Oh, I completely are going here, Tone. Oh my God, he's owned the NFC North. See, the Jets have a big mouth right now. They're talking a lot of trash. Look at the quarterback we got. Look at him. Absolutely. Tone, he's going to get a reality check. He's in the AFC now. This guy's not playing Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields or Jared Goff. This guy's going to have to go against Mahomes, Herbert. He's going to have to play some pretty talented people. Absolutely. What would Hurts do in the AFC? Put him in the AFC West. He's not beating Mahomes twice. He ain't beating him once. He's not beating him. Justin Herbert? Interesting. Have they played already? Has Herbert and Hurts played first year starting? Did he play against him? I don't remember. Did he play against him? They played once. I'm guaranteeing Herbert won. Hurts could never beat that guy. He could never beat that guy. Chargers won by 3 points. 3 points. Hey, won by 3 points. Way to go. Look at him throw. That's a little bit of a big Sills dig there. I like it. Yes, he won Sills by 3. Yeah. Hurts tied the game. Then the defense failed in the final 2 minutes. Oh, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get to the AFC, and this is going to be a different world for him. Because, again, let's say he makes the postseason. You're going to have to go through Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and maybe Lamar Jackson to win the Super Bowl. You're going to have to go through quite a group of dudes to get to that game. That's why I tell you, winning the AFC is tougher to win that conference than it is to win the Super Bowl. Beating the Eagles will be the lesser of the entire journey. What AFC team makes it to the Super Bowl? You'll be rested and ready. Well, wait, I'll take that back because the schedule for the Eagles this year, they have the toughest schedule in the league. So I'll take that back, okay? Their schedule, they don't have the cream puff schedule they had a year ago. They don't have that cream puff schedule. So I'm wondering, how far would Jalen Hurts have led that Broncos team a year ago? You think he would have done better than Russell Wilson? Really? Huh. Second year starting. You think he's better than Russell Wilson already? I don't. I think he had a better season. That's the reality of it. He's not better than Russell Wilson. He had a better year. He had a better year. That's all you can say. Well, he's better. Well, he's better, I guess, technically. I guess technically he's better because he had a better year. Okay. If we're going by that standard, right? If Hurts thrives with the hardest schedule in the NFL, where do you place him among his peers if he goes, like I said, if he goes 12-5 and gets back to the NFC title game? All the question marks I have about him as an elite guy, in my opinion, will go away. They'll completely go away because he's got the schedule. It's a repeat. There's so many fundamental things that are different this time around. He's got a target on his back. I mean, he's got the whole deal here. New coaches on both defense and offense. It's not so much that you're going to be doing different things philosophy-wise, but you are going to be doing different things when it comes to just situational play calling. Every coordinator's different. Okay? Every coordinator's different. I'm time-stamping this one. Hey, look, I've told you guys this before, and I'll continue to tell you this. If this guy gets through this schedule in 2023, and they win 12 games, and they have home field advantage, and they get back to the NFC title game, all the stuff that you talk about with Jalen Hurts, regressing, is he an elite guy? Is he? It's gone. Where do you go when a guy does something 2 years in a row? Now he's being consistent. He's young. He's continuing. And if he, like I said, if Jalen plays the way he played last year, which I think he will, if he plays like he did a year ago, he'll be in the MVP conversation once again. And no fault of their own, but the NFC is not a journey you have to really go over too many speed bumps. Dallas, San Francisco, maybe Seattle. There's just a couple speed bumps. Now, added with the toughest schedule, now you have more speed bumps. You see, I don't know, because the NFC East is going to play a lot of those AFC great teams this year. You could see 11 or 12 win home field advantage this year. It's not because they're any lesser teams than they were a year ago. You're playing better people. Common sense would tell you that. Hey, if you line up 14 tomato cans and you knock them all down, congratulations to you. But when you start putting some of the best teams in the NFL up and you knock 12 of the 14 down, I don't know about you, man, but I'm thinking I'm better than I was a year ago. I have no problem with that. Sills admitted that time after time that Hurts outplayed Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I said not in the fourth quarter, he didn't. That's when the game was won. He had better numbers. As a matter of fact, Arthur, once again, he had better numbers than the first time they played. He beat him. I mean, if Mahomes thinks he needs 300 yards, he'll go for it. If Mahomes thinks he needs 200 yards, he'll go for it. He's figured that out. He doesn't have to run for 75 yards. He doesn't have a running back. He outplayed him. Don't ever put Jalen Hurts in Mahomes' league. It's not close. That guy has nothing but Travis Kelce. That's it. Nothing else. But a bunch of guys. You know who he has? He has a bunch of Boston Scots in Travis Kelce. That's what he has. At every position, they're Boston Scots. They're dudes. Not even close. I'm not debating a dumbass conversation like that. Absolutely not. All right. Let's move on to this one here. I'm going to say something here, and I had a guy ask me a question in Dallas this morning about what the Eagles are doing for Jalen Hurts and how they're building around him and all the things they're doing around him. And this was my comment to my friend who writes for the local newspaper there in Dallas, Dallas Morning News, I think it is. I said that the Philadelphia Eagles do more for Jalen Hurts and his potential success moving forward, and have done it, than what the Cowboys have done for Dak Prescott. They don't do enough for Dak. They don't support him well enough. They get in the way. They constantly are interchanging pieces. Amari Cooper, now Zeke's gone. You're losing players in the O-line. You're not building fundamentally correctly and get this, Jerry doesn't invest enough. Jerry pays his guys, but he doesn't invest it the right way. Jerry looks at a signing bonus and goes like this: here's your signing bonus, and puts one of those shitty contracts together that puts his team in salary cap hell, unlike what the Eagles do. The Eagles put their money where their mouth is. They put it in the O-line. You know where all the millionaires are on the Eagles, right? They're in the O-line. There's 5 of those guys, and you got to pay them handsomely. I said the Eagles, what they do is pretty remarkable. They needed a big-time wide receiver. They went out and made a trade and got a $20 million wide receiver. They wanted to get another playmaking wide receiver the year before they drafted guy, Devontae Smith, put him on the team, even with some of the question marks on his size. They ended up getting rid of Zach Ertz because they believed in the guy that they drafted behind him in Dallas Goedert. The guy that they have in the building that they kept on the coaching staff, Jeff Stoutland, was the only guy that was left in the building because they knew he was the best offensive coach. Jimmy Johnson on his program flat out said, I don't give a shit about any other coach on my coaching staff. And that includes the coordinators. If you don't have a good offensive line coach, You're not going anywhere. And I don't think Dallas has a great one. The Eagles, arguably, Bill Callahan in Cleveland, I think it's a heck of an offensive line coach, and I think Jeff Stoutland. I think those two guys are the two best offensive line coaches in the National Football League. And the Eagles have one of them, and I say the Eagles have the best one. Look at what they do. Free agency. They know they had to stop people. They go out and they go, hey, those two defensive tackles at Georgia were drafted. Why? Well, because all they're looking at is this. Just give Jalen a chance to win a game. Just give Jalen a chance to win a game. That's their philosophy. That's how they're thinking. They invested in the lines again. And that's what's made this run with Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman and Joe Banner exceptional compared to the Norman Brayman run, where they didn't invest in the offensive line. They invested in the D-line only because Buddy could spot talent on defense, because he's a defense savant. You know, Buddy Ryan built that gangrene team in spite of your owner at the time, Norman Brayman. And I love Norman. But Norman didn't really have a focus on the team. And the general manager in the front office was terrible. Not this group. 25 years, 23 years. This organization has done enough for every single quarterback that they have had that has been significant. Carson Wentz, Alshon Jeffries. They have done whatever it took for them to win ball games. They support their quarterback. I don't think Jerry supports his. You know, some go, well, he went and got Amari Cooper. Yeah, then he overpaid him. Then he jettisoned him. You know, Amari Cooper had 1,000 yards last year still. So you mean to tell me you don't think 1,000 or 1,100 yards would have helped the Dallas Cowboys cause, even when he was hurt? On the other side of CeeDee Lamb, you don't think that would have helped? Shit, man, what makes the Eagles so hard to defend is that you got a three-headed monster. Do you go Goddard? Do you go Devontae? Or do you go AJ? That's putting pieces around your quarterback. That's supporting your quarterback. Dak Prescott does not get the support that Jalen Hurts gets because fundamentally, Jerry's in the way. He's just in the way. He doesn't have one guy in that building that makes a decision without him checking off on it. Dude, you think Jeffrey Lurie's sitting down there in the scouting department checking off what players they're going to look at? Absolutely not. He empowers people like Howie. The reason why Howie Roseman has been a superstar, especially the last 2 years, has been because Howie is doing things for the betterment of the team because he's been empowered. He doesn't have any restrictions. Every single guy in Dallas, from the head coach down, is like a puppet on a string. It's you know, I said it yesterday. It's complete clarity in Philadelphia. Complete clarity. Complete clarity in Philly. You know exactly your job. That's one of my favorite things about the Eagles is that you have clarity. Like the Patriots had clarity for 20 years up in New England with Brady. On the outside looking in, one would think Dak gets so much help, but inherently he doesn't because of Jerry's puppeteering. That's right. On the outside, the media looks at it. Wow, look at all the players. Look at all the things they're doing for Dak Prescott. And you're like, what? What's it resulted in? Get this. Here is the fundamental difference, and I said this. And I think this is the difference between Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts right here. Dak Prescott had to beg for his contract. Jalen Hurts was given it by his deeds. He didn't ask publicly for this. They gave it to him. They wanted to. Jerry reluctantly gave Dak Prescott. After 3 years of being engaged, he finally relented and said, okay. He didn't want to move off of Romo. The difference between Dak and Jalen Hurts is one organization empowered Jalen Hurts through his deeds and rewarded him. And I say 1 year, they rewarded him, though. Dak Prescott had to beg for this. And at the end, he put Jerry in a position where he could go nowhere else. Completely twisted his arm, and they got the deal done. Parker got the deal done, and now get this. We're debating whether or not he's the guy. Jerry's never been 100% in on Dak Prescott, in my opinion. They talk like they are, but I do not believe that Jerry has ever been. And I think Jerry got pushed into jettisoning Tony Romo out of that starting job quicker than he wanted to. They put Dak in there, and Dak Prescott, his first couple of years was really good. Now, I don't know. I don't know if he's better than Romo. Has it been an upgrade? It's kind of the same. Dak Prescott's not been an upgrade. They got the same wins. How is Dak Prescott an upgrade? How's it an upgrade? I mean, if you put Dak Prescott on the open market now, would you build your team around him? There's a better chance of me going like this. Well, because I've been covering the kid and I've been talking about Hurts, Hurts would probably be one of the 5 guys on my hand. I'd go, well, throw him in there. And the only reason I wouldn't put Lamar in there is because of injuries. But Dak wouldn't be one of them. He's a $49 million guy this year. I mean, Dak Prescott, has it been an upgrade from Tony Romo? I don't know. All right. By the way, Pro Bowl candidates for the Eagles we're going to do today. Hurts plowing through for a 2-point conversion for tie is worse than Mahomes holding a flag with fourth quarter. Come on. Yeah, whatever, dude. You haven't beaten him yet. Jalen Hurts is so far removed from the talent in Kansas City, it's a joke. Congratulations to you, Arthur. But it's not. You can think whatever you want. You're not building your team around Jalen Hurts over Mahomes. That's laughable. Jalen Hurts with one player on offense and a pretty decent O-line wins 9 games in the AFC on that Kansas City team. Mahomes, if he's on Philadelphia, he's undefeated. And they're scoring 50 a game. There's the difference. Jalen Hurts would win 9 games. I'll give him 9 games on that Kansas City team with Andy Reid. 9 games. Mahomes on the Philadelphia team, they don't lose a game. They don't lose a game. You can't debate that because he did it. And he beat you, the better team. And he's beaten you twice, 2 years in a row. And he'll do it again 3 years in a row. You're not beating that guy with that shitbag running back room you have. Okay? That guy couldn't beat Chris Carson out. I heard people talking about Rashad Penny. My God. All of a sudden now he lands in Philly. This guy's a talented kid. And he couldn't beat Chris Carson out. His entire 5 years. He couldn't beat Chris Carson out. It was a 6th-round pick. I mean, let's just put the injury aside. You couldn't beat a 6th-rounder out. You couldn't even beat a 6th-rounder out when he was healthy. Okay? Random question, Sills. What do you think Mahomes would command in a trade? Probably 5 first-round picks, ownership stake. Shit, man. You'd have to give your next, I would say, half a decade up for him. You would have to give half a decade up of first-round picks to get him And I don't think that's good enough because the next 5 years, Mahomes is going to be probably in 3 more Super Bowls. I don't think he catches Brady, but I do think he catches Montana. I think he catches Montana. I could see him winning 5. He's going to win that many. And it depending on where Reed is in this whole thing too. Like, who would take over Kansas City? Doug Peterson? Somebody that maybe Andy would have, because I think what's going to happen eventually is Belichick's going to go upstairs in New England, and that's going to be kind of a reward and a way to get him off the sidelines. And I could see Andy Reid going into the front office there with Veach, and those guys handpick themselves the next guy who would be the heir apparent. And to me, it would probably be somebody, probably like Doug Peterson, that would be the next head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. Be something like that. And I think Doug would do that too. Okay? I think Doug would do something like that.